What's going on, guys? Sam Adams here, and we have seen a lot of news coming out of the video game industry because of E3 2016 over the course of the past week or so. Now that being said, one of the biggest pieces of news came from Microsoft during their E3 2016 press conference, in which they announced a new model of the Xbox One in addition to Project Scorpio, which is going to be their next console set to hit in holiday 2017. But we're not talking about that one tonight. We're talking Xbox One versus Xbox One S, because this is a very interesting time in the console generation. A lot of people are still getting into it for the first time, and then you have the question of, should you upgrade from the Xbox One to the Xbox One S? Is there really a difference? Is there any reason to get this new console? And that's pretty much what we're going to be breaking down tonight. So whenever you're looking at the differences between the Xbox One and the Xbox One S, I noticed some pretty major differences in 4 different categories. So the first category is size. This thing is 40% smaller than the original model of the Xbox One, which means it's more than likely lighter as well. And on top of that, the overall design of the Xbox One S just looks to be more sleek, more futuristic. It looks to be like the next version of the Xbox One, which is exactly what it is. So as far as physical appearance goes, the Xbox One S definitely wins, but appearance isn't really everything, now is it? So the next category is output resolution. Now this is where the Xbox One S really does show some innovation for those that have the technology to also kind of coincide along with the Xbox One S. So as we all know, 1080p has pretty much been the industry standard for a couple of years now, and the Xbox One S is kind of upping that right off the bat with 4K resolution, otherwise known as HDR. Now you might be asking, is there any reason to have this HDR capability if I don't have an HDR capable television, if you don't have a 4K television or monitor? Not really. There's no reason in having that. It's kind of like having a 3D capable movie and not having a 3D capable television. It just kind of is something that the box says that you never really get to use. That being said, as time does pass, 4K TVs are becoming more and more commonplace, and the price is getting lower and lower, and 4K is eventually going to become the 1080p of the industry. It's going to become the standard as opposed to a luxury, and when that does happen, the Xbox One S is going to add significantly to the longevity of the Xbox One's life cycle. So the next category is the power supply. Now on the current model of the Xbox One, there is a power brick that is tethered to the console in the same way that a baby is attached to Norman Reedus in the Death Stranding trailer. You don't really know why it's there or what purpose it serves in the larger scheme of things, but you do know that you kind of have to have it. That being said, the Xbox One S has taken that and moved it internally, so it's no longer an eyesore and it takes up a lot less space behind the TV stand, behind the desk, and it's just kind of nice to have it on the same level as the PlayStation 4, where you just take a cable, plug it in, and boom, you got power. So the final category where I really saw a difference was in storage, hard drive space. With the standard model of the Xbox One that is on the market today, you've got a 500GB model and a 1TB model with different variations on how it looks or what games are included, but that's pretty much the options that you have currently for storage space on your console. With the Xbox One S coming out in August, you have the 500GB model, the 1TB model, and then a 2TB model for those that are really adamant about keeping all of their AAA titles on their Xbox One at all times, or simply don't want to take the time to delete older games off of their console when they want to free up some space for new content. So now let's talk about the question that's on everyone's mind. Is this thing more powerful? Does it have more processing power? And the simple answer is yes, but the complex answer is yes, but not in the way that you think. So pretty much there is a little bit more power in the Xbox One S that developers can use to support that 4K resolution, that HDR that you would expect to get from the Xbox One S. Now that being said, it's a very menial amount of additional power, and it's pretty much so that developers can support that 4K resolution option without sacrificing frame rate or other kinds of game performance somewhere along the way. So now you might be asking, what about pricing? Let's go ahead and break down the Xbox One and the options that you have right now. So you have the 500GB model that has seen a recent price drop to $279 that is continuing until October, and I wouldn't doubt to see this thing go even lower whenever the Xbox One S does hit the market. Then you have a 1TB model for $299 that is still correlating to that price drop, and then you have the 1TB Elite model, which comes with an Elite controller, which a lot of people say is the best controller that has ever been created in video games, and that is $349. So those are pretty much your options for the standard model of the Xbox One. So then you have the Xbox One S, which has a 500GB model for $299, a 1TB model for $349, and then a 2TB for $399. But either way you look at it, whether you go with the Xbox One original model or the new Xbox One S, sacrifices are being made. With the Xbox One S, you get the better looking console, you get the newer hardware, you get that 4K resolution support, and then you get the new controller that does have Bluetooth support and the textured grip, so you're pretty much getting the newest of the new in the world of Xbox. But then if you go with the Xbox One, you're obviously saving a couple of bucks like I mentioned with that recent price drop, and then on top of that, it's very difficult to find a version of the console that doesn't already come with at least one game, if not more. I have seen at that price point of $279 a console bundle that comes with 4 different games, which blew my mind, and that is definitely some great value. But then again, you're not getting that new look that you would get with the Xbox One S, and you aren't getting the new Xbox One S controller. So what is the final verdict, Xbox One versus Xbox One S? It really depends on the scenario that you personally are dealing with. For those that already have an Xbox One and do not have a 4K television, then I would say you don't really need to upgrade, because as far as performance goes, you're getting the exact same kind of experience from your games. For those that are looking at buying an Xbox One for the first time, you need to take that into consideration as well. Do you have a 4K television, and do you care about having that support for 4K content? If you do, then you might want to consider buying the Xbox One S and getting the most recent piece of hardware. However, if you are just entering into the console cycle and you do want to just get the base Xbox One and you're playing on the standard kind of HD TV that most of us are playing on, then you would probably want to go with the original model of the Xbox One that probably comes with at least one game, and you are still going to be getting that great Xbox One experience that we've come to expect over the course of this console generation. So let's talk about this 2TB Xbox One S. A lot of people are tempted by this one, and a lot of people are tempted to upgrade to it because it does have so much memory. You can put a lot of games and a lot of content in that 2 terabytes. That being said, I would like to take this moment to remind you all that Xbox One does support external hard drives, and I went on Amazon and found a 2TB hard drive for $89 that is compatible with the Xbox One, and it does the exact same thing. So let's go ahead and hypothetically say that you buy a 500GB Xbox One for $279 and get 4 free games with that. You now have 2.5 terabytes of memory to play with, and you've saved a couple of bucks somewhere along the way, and you have a ton of games to play right out of the gate. So all of that being said, the final choice is up to you. Whether you want the Xbox One or the Xbox One S, I would personally recommend the Xbox One, unless you are part of the exception that I did mention that wants that 4K support, that has a 4K monitor or a 4K television. That's just my 2 cents though. If you enjoyed this video, drop me a like down below, share it so that other people can know what they're getting into whenever they're looking at buying an Xbox One or an Xbox One S. And if you are new to the channel, I've been covering E3 2016 for the majority of the week, and of course on a regular basis I upload between 3 and 4 videos, so come back, click that subscribe button, and check out all of that other content. But as for right now, I want to thank each and every one of you guys for watching this particular video. I'll talk to you soon. Peace.